Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us. We're in Boston, Massachusetts, and we're meeting with some of the communications and technology companies in the area, learning about what's new, what's next, what's exciting. On our program is Michael Flusberg, the CEO of Powerhouse Dynamics. Martin, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Rich. Nice to be here.
So give me the overview of your company, please.
Sure. Powerhouse is all about helping consumers and small business save money on their energy bills, lower their energy use, lower energy, with a system that monitors every energy load in a facility, provides analytics and diagnostics of things, and then helps you control those loads remotely.
Now, recently a product called Nest just was announced. It was a few weeks ago, just from some ex-Apple people that you put in your home, and it supposedly learns about the temperature settings you want. So that seems to have brought some interest into the market.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful product. It looks like an Apple product. A lot of people say it's the product that Steve Jobs would have built if he had gotten involved in thermostats, obviously. And they sold out their initial batch that they built. It's an interesting product. It'd be interesting to see how it works because of the learning. We've taken a simpler approach with a thermostat that's not nearly as beautiful, but we do allow you to very easily set your thermostat settings remotely via the web or your mobile device. It's done with a graphical interface where you just pull up a bar to adjust the temperature setting up or down or left or right to change the time, and then lets you do things like set your vacation settings, and then anytime you want to schedule a vacation, it'll automatically adjust no matter how many thermostats you have. So you never have to touch it once it's installed. In fact, once the thermostat's installed, you never touch it at all. It's all done via the remote. So it's a different approach, less expensive, the thermostat side, not as beautiful. Be interesting to see how it plays out.
And you could, with your system, you could just use the app, and let's say you're coming home from vacation early or extending, you can just change it remotely, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk about just physically, how does it work? Is it wireless, wired, all those things?
Sure. So we have a product that connects, that actually goes inside the circuit panel in your in a home or a business. The original version, which was designed for consumers, actually was wired to a device outside the panel, and that got connected via Ethernet. We've rolled out a version for commercial customers that's entirely wireless from inside the panel to the gateway, wireless from the gateway, or you can connect by Ethernet. And that's actually going to be available for consumers starting early next year as well. So I guess I'd call it wireless. And then that gets uploaded to the web. All the heavy lifting is done on the web. We analyze the information, provide a series of alerts. And let me tell you, what our experience has been, and I'll start with the consumer side, and then we can talk about the business if we can. About 98% of our customers have reported savings, and the savings have ranged anywhere from 2 or 3% to 35% on their energy bill. Typically, it's between 10 and 20 or 10 and 25. And the way people have saved is a variety of things. So you've got simply the feedback mechanism. Boy, I didn't realize I was using that kind of energy, but what we've done is it's not just the whole house energy, it's at a granular level of all of the things that you're using. So people have, just by feedback, have changed their behavior. There are alerts about or pushed messages about ways to save or about problems and issues. And then we have the remote control, so you actually can adjust your thermostat. Most people never do adjust their thermostat with a typical programmable thermostat because it's too difficult. But the kind of saving, just as by way of example, one customer who's saved 25% on his energy bill, he's had the product for about 14 months, reported that among all the other things, he's got a food warmer in his house that they use when they put out dinner and they put the food on the food warmer. And the food warmer uses about 8,000 watts of power, and he's had about 7 alerts in the last year that they'd left it on. And in the past, it would have been on for God knows how long.
How do those alerts get sent, based on what?
So they get, there's a whole series of alerts that you can set up, and this is really part of the secret sauce of the product. I mean, there's 3 elements to the secret sauce. There's the granularity of the information, there's the analytics and alerts, and then there's a very, very slick user interface and experience with a lot of the information pushed to you via alerts by text or or email, and those are alerts that you can set up. And it could be an alert, let me know if I've left this on during this time of the day, or let me know if something stops working, or let me know if I have a circuit overload condition, or warn me early in the month if I'm going to blow my budget, or let me know if a piece of equipment is suddenly using a lot more energy than it used to, or slowly using a lot more energy, which may be an example of a problem. So one of the enormous savings, even on the consumer side, are equipment problems that people have identified. They've discovered, somebody discovered that 2 air conditioning units, one was using a lot more energy than the other. It was a smaller unit. There was something wrong. I had the same experience I guess it was earlier this year, last winter. I got an alert that my downstairs furnace air handler was using 3 times as much energy as the upstairs. Well, you'd expect it to use more energy because heat rises, but I checked it out, and it turns out there was a stuck pump that was causing it to consume a lot more energy. And for these reasons, our belief is that the savings opportunities in a small commercial establishment are dramatically greater because you have a lot more equipment, you've got a lot more issues, you've got non-business hours when things are being left on, or before business hours when things are on, a lot of things that you don't have in a consumer, in a household.
So devices will plug into a unit to measure, right? Is that how it works?
Plugs in at the circuit panel. So you don't have to plug any individual device in. It's all, each circuit is being monitored. So all of your key big equipment is all on dedicated circuits.
Right,
So you're monitoring you know, a walk-in freezer or a walk-in refrigerator. Remotely, you don't have to do anything at the device itself, and we're seeing exactly what's going on. And it's that granularity that gives you tremendous visibility and opportunities to save. Over and above, I mean, you still have the remote control of thermostats, and in a commercial establishment, there's a constant war on adjusting thermostats. Very common situation is you have heating and cooling on at the same time because somebody in the facility turned the heating on, someone turned the cooling on. What you'll often have
it's happened in my house.
Yeah, well, it's more common in in a commercial establishment, but I'm sure it does happen in your house. So you get alerts about that, or you get to control it entirely so it can't happen. And that makes an enormous difference.
To me, that's the biggest waste of money that you can possibly have is when you have your air conditioner and heater on in the same area, because you're basically paying for both to fight each other continuously, and neither one will ever win.
It's not a good thing.
No.
So you want to control that and know about it. One of the other things we've done, and if I could, I mean, one of the interesting things on the whole commercial side, there have been energy management systems out there for a very long time for large facilities. They cost tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds. If you own a small restaurant or a small retail establishment, 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, you can't afford to bring in a system like that. So what we've done is a few things uniquely different. Number one, we have a price point, partly because we started with a consumer product, dramatically below. So we're looking at maybe $1,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 instead of $15,000 to $25,000 or $50,000. Second, the traditional energy management systems are really sophisticated control systems designed for an energy manager or a facility manager, and we do some of that with control of HVAC systems, and we'll be rolling out lighting control with third-party product as well. But we do it in this much more straightforward user experience, and we combine it with that granularity and set of alerts. And so you can see in a restaurant, as an example, there are problems on a regular basis with equipment, and often you don't find out about it till afterwards.
Right.
Well, we can actually alert you to a problem before it happens. So
right.
if that walk-in freezer is suddenly using 15% more energy than it used to, that's a sign of a problem.
Sure.
And so you have an opportunity to fix it. The other thing we've done is provided information that can let you control things. So, for example, we have a benchmarking capability. If you own a chain of retail stores or restaurants or convenience stores, typically you'll have some that use a lot more energy than others. You find out about it when you get a bill. That's about all the information you have. You don't know what you can do about it. We provide the information on a continuing basis of cost per square foot, but actually drill down and let you know What's the refrigeration cost per square foot, the cooling cost per square
Right.
foot, the cooking cost per square foot. Now you can work with the store managers and find out what they're doing right or what they're doing wrong.
Oh, right, because you have trends, you have baselines, and you have aberrations.
And
right?
you
Some
and you
are
know
way
it,
off.
That's right, and you know
Some are
exactly.
much better, and you ask those people, hey, what are you doing?
Well,
that's
but
so
you
good?
actually have an insight into
Right.
what they're doing because you can see where it is.
Sure.
So what I've had actually several CFOs say to me is, for the first time, I can incent my store managers to control energy costs. Till now,
Right.
it was an uncontrollable. They didn't have enough information. Now they've got the information.
Makes sense.
Moreover, I've got the information. And so now it could be part of their kind of incentive. They can get an alert on the 5th day of the month that they're about to blow their budget for the full month, or you know, and do something about it in time. So we've added a dimension of information based on that level of granularity that's actually pretty unique, even for some of those larger systems, at a dramatically lower price point.
What I like about remotely programmable thermostats the most is the fact that without having this functionality, you have to kind of leave the temperature at a comfortable setting all the time, just because you don't know if you're going to come. You may come back later on in the day. You may go in a conference room, things like that, or you may go in an area of the office which you want to have a comfortable temperature in that
Right.
area when you get there. But now, with the remote capability, you could, let's say, set something 15 minutes or 30 minutes before you get there and have that area be warm. So you could turn it off in terms of your, you could change the thermostat settings so that you're not heating an area which no one goes into
Exactly.
until you really are going to need that area. And there's just a tremendous amount of wasted energy and money because thermostats are not remotely programmable
Oh,
right
that's
now.
right. That's right, and they're kept the same. There was actually an interesting study done a few years ago about consumers who had programmable thermostats, and 24% had actually ever used them. And so we did a little study to find out why not. It was very non-scientific, but this was the response. 75% of the people told us, because I can't figure out how to use it.
Yeah, well, no offense to Honeywell. Honeywell does an okay job with some of these. I have a few of their thermostats.
It's hard.
I mean, I have an engineering degree, so for me, it's a little bit of a challenge with an engineering degree. It's not the easiest thing, like you said.
No,
I mean,
it's
the
not.
screen is this big, and you kind of have to work your way around it. And
Well, I won't reveal names, but when I showed the our interface for how you control the thermostat to somebody, her response was, "My God, for the first time in my life, I can control the thermostat." And to put it in perspective, she's got a PhD from Harvard.
so my wife actually has told me, because we just got back from a vacation where I turned all the thermostats down to 40 degrees before we left, just because I thought it would be great to save a lot of money while we were on the vacation. We got back to a 40-degree house, and she said to me just before we came up here about a week ago, she said, is there any kind of system that we should install in the house that can allow us to remotely turn on the heat? And so it's just kind of funny that I'm running into you now, and your solution works so well with business as well. And we know there are so many businesses that are wasting electricity because they leave or oil or gas, because they leave their thermostats on 24/7, and now they can just remotely turn it down, turn it on, right?
Right, absolutely.
Program it easily.
Exactly, and they can do that. And then at least our system is, while obviously the heating and cooling are a huge part, that's not all there is. And so we're able to address any usage, at
Sure.
least with the information. With lighting, you'll be able to control that as well. We'll have a device where you can control things that are plugged in. But it's fascinating, just the alerts and the value of those
Sure.
alerts is enormous, because there are so many different things that you may actually find. And part of the value proposition of our product is it's not just raw data. We're actually trying to interpret that data for you and highlight situations where there are things that you should know about, because it could be costing you money, or it could be a safety problem, or it could be anything.
I imagine server rooms are another area where.
Yeah, it's not a big issue for us, because we're focusing on smaller commercial customers. They tend not to have server rooms. Server rooms do use a lot of energy, absolutely. And
But that's got to be a
people
growth area
focus on that.
down the road, probably. I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Especially
people.
device by device, if you have that capability.
Yeah, we have a few companies that are looking at actually using our product to do exactly that. So these are the companies that sell electronic equipment for server rooms, and they're looking for something that can monitor each piece of equipment.
So what's next?
Well, good question. We still have lots of ways to go with where we are. So we just started to roll out the small commercial product. A lot of things that we're going to be adding to this product over the next year or so. So I mentioned lighting control as one example. Again, we're not building any controls. There are plenty of them out there. What we're looking for are controls that can get connected to the web or Wi-Fi enabled, so we can connect it to our gateway and control it remotely. We're going to be adding gas monitoring, water monitoring, and a whole series of additional analytics and alerts. So what we'd like to be able to do for a business is not just tell them, gee, your walk-in freezer is using this much more energy, but use the patterns of data that we have to say, and it looks like there's a belt slipping, or your compressor needs a tune-up, or whatever the issue may be.
Right.
And what we're also doing, which is potentially very exciting, is we're collecting all this data about how different equipment works. That's going to be a fascinating database to be able, might be of a lot of interest to manufacturers and others to really understand how equipment actually works versus what they're how they're supposed to work. Excellent. So lots of interesting things that we're going to be doing over the next couple of years.
Excellent. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.